Welcome to part 1 on using KeyNote to create a video lesson for your kids. I'm going to break down what I do into 3 steps in this first lesson, and then if you'd like to take it a step further, you can go on to the iMovie part 2 video to follow. So step 1 when creating a KeyNote lesson is you really need to plan out what it is that you're going to do. You could do this in KeyNote, you could do it on paper. I just jotted down my lesson for modeling adding fractions so that I know what I'm going to build in my KeyNote. So how you do the plan is up to you, but it makes sense in terms of figuring out where you're going to get materials and what it is you want to present. So I know I need to obviously open up and start a new KeyNote. So I have my folders all set up for different topics. So I'm going to go into 4th grade math and create a new presentation from here. I always start my presentations the same way. I put on the first slide the topic number and the actual topic name. And then I also will put on down here my name just to give myself credit where credit is due. So I'm going to rename this to be also the same topic and topic number for my reference later. And then the other resource that I need to have open is I'm going to go to Pearson Realize, and I'm going to go to the textbook that is online so that I can pull pieces and parts from that. So the first part of my plan is actually to do a quick review. So I'm going to build a couple pieces on a blank slide that I want to review with the kids. For example, I just want to review what a fraction is and how it looks since it's been 2 weeks since they have been at school. So I'm going to use some of the tools that are in here. For example, I'm going to use the basic shapes, and you can actually write in these shapes. So let me make that a little bit bigger. I'm just going to type in here 1 whole, and then underneath that I'm going to add in some smaller boxes that I can demonstrate having a smaller section of that 1 whole. And I like using my keyboard on here because I'm actually going to use the pointing up finger emoji to show that that's what I'm talking about for 2/3. So I want to remind them a fraction is part of a whole. So I might want to even animate these so that they come out one at a time. I usually go back and add my animations when I'm all done with my screen. I want to see everything that's going to be on there first. So now that I've got a fraction on there, I'm going to do the same thing, only this time I want to show them and remind them about equivalent fractions. So my reason for going into Pearson and taking some of their resources, like for example, I'm going to use the Solve and Share, is because I don't want to have to recreate everything in my KeyNote. If it's already printed here for me and I can use a screenshot or a screen recording of what's happening in here, then I want to do that to save myself a little bit of time. So I'm going to take a screenshot of this. I'm just going to hold down my home button and my power button, and I'm going to edit that real quick because they don't need to see everything. I want them to be able to see. A lot of times I'll just take that and I'll use just the text box itself so that I don't have to retype it. So I'm just going to take that and I'm going to actually copy. I don't want to save this into my photos because I don't need one more photo in there. And I'm going to go back to my KeyNote, add a blank slide, and paste down from my screenshot what I got from Pearson. So now it is at the top of the screen and I'm ready to add to this. So on a new slide, I'm going to use both my Apple Crayon as well as some images to demonstrate how I can use fraction strips and number lines. I'm going to start with a number line. So I'm just going to tap my screen and just add some color here. So I'm going to draw a number line. It's not straight at all. I would try to do that straighter for the kids, but I'm at a weird angle. So I'm going to divide this into eighths. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and get rid of my extra. And then I'm going to actually use a different color here. I'm going to use green and purple to demonstrate how this would look from what they are painting. Now I'm going to use a new slide to demonstrate how they can use a fraction strip to do that same thing. Now I want to keep this part at the top, so I'm just going to duplicate this slide. I'm going to copy it and paste it, and then I'm going to just delete my drawing here, and I'm going to go over to Google Images. I'm not going to attempt to draw fraction strips, so I'm going to double tap and go over to Google. I'm already at images.google.com and I'm going to type in fraction strip. And I like this one because I can chop it apart pretty easy. So I'm going to press and hold it, choose copy, and go back to my KeyNote. And now I can chop this apart and use it to show, again, how to use a fraction strip to count. So I'm going to double tap it, and I'm actually going to crop it so I only have the one at the top, because we're used to seeing that hole at the top. And then I'm going to paste it again, and I'm going to crop so I just have the 1/8 and make this fill the same size as the hole. There we go. Now I want to use my Apple Crayon again to demonstrate how on this fraction strip I can show them 3/8 are green.
And 4/8 are purple. And again, now I can count and see that I have 7/8 of the banner has been painted.
So that's how I use different bits and pieces like Google Images or my drawing tools. Go back and add animations using the line draw animation, because that's like watching you do it live when they watch this in a video. So I've added a new slide, and I actually want this to be a video clip from Pearson. So I'm going to go back to Pearson Realize in lesson 1, and I'm going to screen record the playing of this Another Look video. So I'm going to show you how I turn on screen recording, make sure audio is on, and then I'm going to show you how I also crop it. So part of this will be fast, but then I'll slow it down when you need to hear it.
Lunchtime yet?
When you're done recording, tap on that record symbol at the top and stop recording. It should go directly then into your photos, and it'll pop it up at the top to tell you that it went there. So I'm going to go to my photos. I'm going to tap on that notification, and I'm going to edit. In this little editor tool, I can turn the volume off and have no sound whatsoever. I could change the look of it if I wanted to, but I can also crop my image. So if I don't want them to see my full iPad screen in the video, I can crop it just like a photo. And then I could also trim it if I wanted to. So if I had more than I wanted in the video, I can use this bar down here. And if I drag it, the yellow bar is showing me what I'm trimming it to. In this case, I want it all, so I'm not going to trim it, but I wanted you to know that feature was there. When I tap on done, it's going to then save it as the new video that's been cropped down. Now that I have the new video saved and cropped in my photo stream. I'm going to go back to my KeyNote. And on my blank slide, I'm going to insert that as media. So I'm going to go over to the media block at the top and go to photo or video. In my recents, I've got the video we just screen captured. So I'm going to go ahead and tap on use. It compresses the video to make it a little bit more efficient, but this is still going to make our KeyNote file really big, but movies are big in the end. So once this is a complete lesson, it will be a large file anyway. So now here we've got the video inserted right into a slide. You can see in the middle is the play button. I can tap on this and go to animate. And right now it's already set to start the movie as a build-in, but I'm going to change it so that that start happens right after we transition to that slide. Now I'm going to add some additional slides. I'm just going to do this in quick motion for you until I'm done with my entire KeyNote build. And then from there, I will show you how I then make this into a lesson where I'm talking over it and save it as a movie. So now that I have all of my slides in here, I'm going to go ahead and add some slide transitions just to make it more interesting. The more the kids have to watch, the more likely they are to stay focused. So when you tap on a slide on the left, you can go to transition, and there's a lot of neat features in here. I usually use stuff like page flip or wipe just so that it's something almost like watching a book. So I'm going to go to page flip, and it gives you a preview of what that looks like. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit done, and I'll just use page flip for all of them just to keep it consistent. And on the very last one, I'm actually going to use fade through color, and it'll actually just fade to black. I can see that yellow triangle in the corner. That tells me all of them have the transition on there. So what I do now is I actually present it and I record it as I present it using my voice. So I'm going to drag down from the top right corner, press and hold my screen record, and make sure my microphone is on. Once my microphone is on, I can start recording, and I can always trim my video right at the very beginning so that it doesn't show me going into present mode. But even if it does, who cares? The kids are used to seeing us do that anyway in class. So I'm going to go ahead and start recording. And I'm going to go ahead and go through the process like I normally would in fast motion so that you can see how I stop and start it a couple times, and I make them into different little clips. In order to then put it together as one big movie, I use iMovie. And I do this so that I don't have to try to get all 9 or 10 slides spoken correctly when I present it. So if you're interested in that, make sure you watch part 2 of this video, which is taking these video clips and putting them together in iMovie.